Well, it's been 50 years since the FA Cup had a third-place playoff, but if it had one last year, it would have featured these two. Sheffield United and Brighton and Hove Albion, 2023's unsuccessful semi-finalists, thrown together in the fourth round this campaign. Every red and white shirt behind the ball. The Albion happy to be patient. Gilmour, not to Hitchwood, another fantastic touch from the youngster. Seems to be the outlet at the moment, but there's a clever run from Pascal Gross in behind. Flag stays down, hung up by Gross. Evan Ferguson nods it into the corner, but now the flag is raised. Well, there was an initial nervous glance sideways from Pascal Gross when he found his way in behind. The flag stayed down. The officials let play continue. It was a lovely chipped ball into the penalty area and a towering header from Ferguson. But the offside flag denies the Seagulls an opener. Stupinian, options joining in the middle. Gilmour. Igor and Stupinian, exchange of 1-2. Van Hecker can pick his head up and try and get the Seagulls moving forward. Gilmour again, João Pedro's made a run to his left. Ferguson. Back to Billy Gilmour. Ferguson gets it out his feet. Pens one just over the crossbar. Fantastic shift out of his feet from Evan Ferguson. Lined it up and lashed it towards goal after good work from Billy Gilmour in the middle. Just didn't have the necessary dip to carry it off the underside of Gerbich's bar and into the back of the net. Remains Sheffield United 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. First time back to Pascal Gross. Incredibly narrow are Sheffield United, which is limiting space for Gross and Gilmour, but they've still managed to wriggle through João Pedro. Buonanotte thought about the shot, might hit it this time. Oh, what a strike! Facundo Buonanotte rifling it into the corner. It's a missile from the Argentine. A year on from when he signed for the Albion, and now it really feels as though Seagulls fans are seeing the very best of Facundo Buonanotte. Elected not to take the early shot, shifted it to his left, a couple of yards closer to goal, and unleashed a bullet into the top corner. Ivo Gerbich with no chance. You don't see them struck much sweeter than that. Facundo Buonanotte with his first FA Cup goal, and one to remember for the Argentine. Still the Albion keep the ball, still Sheffield United are drawn deeper and deeper towards the edge of their own penalty area. Groans of frustration starting to echo around Bramall Lane. Didn't quite open up for Jack Hinshelwood. Change the angle to Igor. João Pedro, lovely touch into the penalty area. João Pedro's away, down in the box, and it's an Albion penalty. Well, the touch to create the penalty for the Seagulls was brilliant from João Pedro, but the build-up was simply sublime. The Seagulls keeping the ball away from Sheffield United, shifting them from left to right for what felt like an eternity. João Pedro skips past the challenge, is brought down to the penalty area, and now the Albion will have a chance to double their advantage from 12 yards. João Pedro versus Gerbich at Bramall Lane. Never in doubt, it never is when João Pedro is stood over the top of it. Buried in the bottom left, and the Seagulls with a commanding 2-goal advantage away at Sheffield United in the FA Cup. Coolly stroked into the corner. Gerbich sent the wrong way, had no chance, and João Pedro has goal number 16 of the season and is 12 for 12 with the penalties he's taken in English football. Death by 1,000 passes, if you will, for the Seagulls, who have just completely wrestled control of this first half. Adam Webster to Billy Gilmour, Evan Ferguson. More magnificent football from Roberto De Zerbi's side. João Pedro sprinting in behind and skying it just over the top. Took it early, tried to catch Ivo Grbic out. More fantastic build-up from the Seagulls. Ferguson, one touch to Buonanotte. Buonanotte in behind for João Pedro. And just couldn't get over the top of the ball and try and beat Grbic at his near post. A good sighter for João Pedro. Norrington Davies back to Osborne. Skips it beyond Buonanotte and Ferguson. Curled in behind where the flag stayed down against Azula, who's driving towards goal. Brereton Diaz in the middle. Verbruggen saves, but right back to the feet of Harmer, who's put it into the roof of the net. Sheffield United have one back. Well, they've been building nicely at the end of this first half. They've got their rewards. Darting run in behind from Azula, and the cool finish from Harmer. So easy to lean back and scoop that one over. Harmer stayed over the ball and fired it into the back of the net. It's Sheffield United 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 2, right at the end of this first half. Just with a momentary lapse in concentration, they're playing that high line with the back three. And into the 8 minutes of added time we go at the end of this first half. Archer. Is there more joy for Sheffield United? Curled in towards Azula, trying to bundle it goalwards. And skips behind for a goal kick. He was wrestling for position at that near post, William Azula. He might have hurt himself in the process. But Van Hecke did just enough to see him off the ball and put him off that effort, which drifts wide of the mark. Swung out to the right. Space is starting to open up perhaps for the Blades. Archer looking in behind off the shoulder of Igor to Bogle. Gustavo Harmer closed down, back out to Bogle, looking to lift one into the penalty area where it's nodded in. It's an equaliser for the Blades, and it's William Azula nodding home his third of the season. Well worked up the right, a good reverse ball from Bogle into Harmer. It looked to have broken down for Harmer, worked it back out to Bogle, who lifted it into Azula. Looks like Igor is just playing Azula on as he nodded it home past Verbruggen. And the Danish 20-year-old in the last minute of stoppage time at the end of the first half has pulled the Blades level on home soil. Billy Gilmour to Hinchelwood. Ferguson back out to Hinchelwood. Buonanotte. João Pedro to Gross. It's neat and tidy from the Seagulls. Gilmour thinks about where Buonanotte into Hinchelwood. Reverse back towards João Pedro. Harmer cuts it out. Buonanotte can take back over. João Pedro dinking it in towards Evan Ferguson, and his header lands in the arms of Grbic, and it's been given as a Seagulls penalty. A handball from the Ferguson header. Sheffield United plead innocence. Austin Trusty leading the protests. There was the first shout for the tug back on Buonanotte, but the referee signalled to his arm. Perhaps a handball given, and it is. It's Jayden Bogle that's reached across the face of Evan Ferguson and deflected the ball away with his arm. The age-old question for someone taking two penalties in one game: does João Pedro go the same way or change it up for the Seagulls? It's João Pedro, and the Seagulls are back in front at Bramall Lane. Make that 13 English penalties converted without error for João Pedro. 10 for 10 on the season from the spot. Bends it in the right-hand corner, and it's Brighton Hove Albion 3, Sheffield United 2. The away side back in front in this topsy-turvy encounter. Out to Hinshelwood, space for the right wing back, looking for a cross into the 6-yard box. Ricci was there defending, Van Hecke. And back by Archer, out to Brereton Diaz. Seagulls have numbers back defending. Brereton Diaz waits for help to arrive in the form of Bogle, and it's deflected away. Almost atoning for the conceding of the penalty there. Jayden Bogle raced forward from right wing back to get involved in the attack. Archer and Brereton Diaz combined well initially. Diaz with a clever ball back to Bogle. In the end, it's another outstanding block from Igor to see that away, getting his studs to the ball to prevent a certain equaliser for Sheffield United. What a return to the starting 11 for Igor this has been. Game hanging on a knife edge at the moment. Pascal Gross. Buonanotte to Welbeck. First touches for the 2-time winner of the FA Cup. Out to Stupinian. Looking to weave his way past Bogle. Webster chipped into the penalty area. Hinshelwood with the header, nodded away as far as Danny Welbeck. Caught under the feet of Billy Gilmore. Van Hecke to João Pedro on a hat-trick, and he's found it! João Pedro slams it home for his first Albion hat-trick. A sublime goal, lashed into the corner from just outside the penalty area, and Brighton and Hove Albion with their 4th, perhaps to try and seal this one and book their place into the 5th round. The Seagulls were patient and probing. Van Hecke slid it into him, and just as he did in the 3rd round, it's Jean-Paul Van Hecke to João Pedro combining for a Seagulls 4th goal. Expertly placed past the arms of Gerbic. It's Sheffield United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 4. Stupinian, he's got more involved in this second half, the left wing back, getting further and further forward. João Pedro on the left, darting in field, looking for the run of Buonanotte. He couldn't bundle it home past Gerbic. Well, he scored 3, almost created another there, João Pedro. Curling it goalwards, right in front of the Sheffield United goalkeeper. It was missed initially by Welbeck, it almost bounced through to Buonanotte. Such a teasing delivery from the Brazilian, and Buonanotte just couldn't convert it. Chris Wilder trying to dictate things to his team. Need 2 goals from somewhere. Bouncing towards Danny Welbeck, who's got there first, and now Welbeck sprinting away. Not too much in the way of support. Danny Welbeck might go alone. It's Danny Welbeck! It's 5 for the Seagulls! The 2-time winner of this competition puts the cherry on top of the cake as the Albion are cruising to the 5th round. The 33-year-old won it initially on halfway. He looked up, he checked his options in the middle. There were plenty of them, but Danny Welbeck did not need any help, and he buried it past Ivo Gerbic, bouncing up into the roof of the net. It's Sheffield United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 5. It's a 9th FA Cup goal in the career of Danny Welbeck, and he might be marching to more special FA Cup memories with Brighton and Hove Albion. McBurney, clever nutmeg by McAtee, might not be done for goals yet. McAtee has picked out what looked to be a screamer, but the check at the watch from the referee says no. Well, if 7 goals weren't enough, James McAtee rattled that one off the underside of the crossbar, down on the line. and in the dying embers of this game almost found a third for Sheffield United. That will be the last action. It will finish Sheffield United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 5. A dominant attacking display for Roberto De Zerbi's side, and they are cruising their way into the 5th round of the FA Cup. Full time at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 5.